Now let's see how this powertrain performs. I got that. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're going to be going over a Defender X. Before getting the video though, as always, a huge shout out and thank you to the Land Rover here in downtown Salt Lake for giving me some time with this Defender X. I'm going to include a link to their inventory in the description down below where you can check this one out. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below as well. Let's get into the video. So under the hood, we have a turbocharged 3-liter inline-6. It goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. It is good for 395 horsepower and then 406 pound-feet of torque. Now here's a key fob for the Defender. The reason I'm showing you guys the key fob is, well, it looks pretty cool, but you've got your unlock function, your lock. This is for the lights, and that's to unlock the rear, but I want to show you guys the lights because it's pretty cool. You can turn the lights on and off with the key fob just like other Land Rover models. Gonna keep them on for a second. Notice here with the center of the hood now, it's all blacked out, and then you guys can see here on either side it's also blacked out, but then we have dark metallic gray here off to the side, and then all down the center is also blacked out. And then here's what the lights look like while they're on. You do have the daytime running lights that are not illuminated right now. Fog light down below, and then notice here with the coloration on the front end, we do have parking sensors here on the front. You can see with the camera as well. And then notice here how it's kind of like shaped and everything to help out with approach angle. We do have skid plate protection underneath. And, well, there's the front end. Coming around the side here, we've got two 55mm tires wrapped on 20-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. And you can see here with the design, you got the silver there on the top with the dark metallic gray below it. And then we do have Brembo brakes here on the front end. They are finished in red in terms of the caliper color. And then we got the air suspension here with the X. And then notice here with the fender flare, it's body painted. And then you guys can see compared to like, that one's a 30th anniversary edition. The fender flares then are a lot larger, whereas this kind of like is more subtle basically. And then we've got the mud flap there, got the Defender logo, Defender X here down below. And then notice how the roof is all blacked out. And again, you can see the contrast between the gray and the black on this particular one. And also you can see with the rails there at the very top. Now popping to the rear here, you guys will notice that the whole thing opens up, which is pretty cool. It says Defender on it, which I definitely think is neat. And then notice here with the recovery points, easily accessible. Now again, with the air suspension, you can raise and lower the rear with those buttons right there. And then we have our power outlet here. And look at that for the climate control setup. You can see here with the little charging port down below. And then this one has like the whole, I can't remember what this is called, but it's like the cage setup basically. So you have separation here in the rear. And yeah, other than that, pretty solid. And then when you're all done, just close it. Pretty simple. Now finishing things up with the rest of the rear, we've got a full-size spare here, which is pretty cool. I love the coloration on the taillights here with the Defender X. So if you guys don't know, with the regular Defender, they're just kind of like red with the coloration, which doesn't look bad. There's another Defender that they have. But these, with a darker coloration, just like the V8, just kind of makes it look sportier. Defender there, and then you guys can see Land Rover there on the other side. And then notice we got the two exhaust tips poking out the bottom here, parking sensors on the bottom as well. And let me give you guys one more view before we go over one more thing here with the rear. So there's kind of another viewpoint. But here's the ladder that lets you access the top as well, which is definitely a cool touch, and it just kind of, I don't know, gives it a more unique appearance. Now popping inside the Defender X here, you get the upgraded leather interior as standard here with the X. And then you guys can see here with the exposed rivets and then the body painted section that's kind of taken inside here. Blind spot monitoring, speakers here for the sound system. And then here are these seats. So it's kind of interesting. You have like some, looks like cloth trim here, but then leather all down the center portion, which these seats kind of remind me of the seats in the Mercedes G-Wagon, which is pretty cool. And then notice here, popping in, pretty easy to get in. Again, this has air suspension, so we could lower it as well. And then notice here with the little storage pocket, and then we have a little charging port here. Climate zone for the rear passengers. And then notice here with all of the charging ports. And then we have our cup holder armrest set up as well. Yeah, look how beautiful that door panel is. We also still have the Alpine lights here. Let's head to the front. Again, here is the front door panel. You've got that beautiful upgraded leather here on the front door panel, and then notice with the exposed rivets. All of our window controls here with the mirror adjustments, memory seats. The mirrors do have blind spot monitoring, and more speakers for the Meridian sound system. Notice it says Defender right there. And then again with the front seats, notice with all the leather there. Power adjustments there on the side of the seat. Look at the pedals, those look really nice. And then notice there for the parking brake release. And then again with the padding right there, well, leather I should say. But anyways, let's pop in. Now here is the steering wheel for the Defender. Really nice leather trim all around, and then notice even the airbag cover has nice stitching on it. We've got our cruise control right here. Controls for the center stack, as you can see with pressing the button right there. And then we've got our turn signal, light stock, windshield wiper stock, and, well, there's a steering wheel. Full digital gauge cluster here with the Defender X, and then again you can scroll through these different menus here, see different bits of info on the Defender, kind of customize things to your liking as well. And I definitely think this has like a nicer look than the half analog, half digital in terms of just like the appearance, but again, I guess that's personal opinion. Now the Defender X also comes with the larger infotainment system, which for some reason on Land Rover's configurator kind of looks funky, but in real life it actually looks good. It actually makes sense, believe it or not. Anyways, here is the camera system. So we got this full 360 camera system. We can go from on-road to off-road to towing. Notice that everything is unlocked. And notice when I go from reverse to drive here with the camera system, well, I'm in the off-road mode. Sorry. There we go. You guys can see we got the front camera on now, for example, and then if I pop back to reverse, we have the backup camera. Anyways, other than my silly mistakes here, you guys can see we've got the shortcut bar here on the side. Now, functionality on this is super similar to the smaller touchscreen. Everything's just a little bit larger. I love how it shows like the elevation and everything that we're at. But overall, really solid infotainment system. And what I have to say is, if you can get this, I would recommend it. Here's a shifter for the 8-speed automatic transmission, and then we have a bunch of controls here in the center. Hill descent, auto stop start. We've got like our climate control section kind of in this area, so notice that if I press it in, then that lets me adjust the seats, and then if I press this, that lets me adjust the fan speed, and then this lets me adjust the drive modes here. So notice we have an eco, comfort, grass, gravel, snow, mud ruts, sand, rock crawl, wading, and then configurable. And these will adjust the traction system, whether things are locked or unlocked, and the air suspension. It adjusts quite a bit. And then when you're done, just press that again. And then you can manually raise or lower the air suspension right there. Low range, and yeah, just a bunch in one area. Notice here we've got some little charging ports and then tons of storage space here, some cup holders. And look at this really nice like wood trim on the grab handles. Definitely kind of brings the interior up. And I love this brown interior. And here's the center console. And yeah, leather definitely feels really high quality actually. And then here's our glove box. Got the USB right here. And yeah, they did a really good job with this. It definitely kind of like brings things up with the Defender. And then popping up top here, we do have a panoramic sunroof with a little sunglass holder. Camera mirror as well, which definitely is a nice safety feature. Sorry, it's kind of hard to see there on the camera. But yeah, that's all for the top. Let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's your visibility of the hood. You guys can hopefully see in that heads-up display now. Both the mirrors, which do have blind spot monitoring. And then throughout the rest of the rear. And let's set off. So, setting off here in the Defender X. And my goal with this video is to hopefully help you guys determine if you should go for a Defender. And I'm not sure why it's trying to navigate me somewhere. I don't know why it's doing that. But anyways, we're just gonna drive, and I guess I'll have to deal with the navigation talking to me. But anyways, with the Defender X, just like other Defenders with the air suspension, it rides very, very smooth. Can I like turn the navigation volume all the way down? And it rides very smooth. And you know, even with these larger wheels, like 20s, it's still a really comfortable vehicle overall. So I think they've done a great job from that perspective. Seat comfort's great. So I can comment, I just sat in a Defender that has like the base seats, right? The base leather seats. This is definitely more comfortable than the base leather seats. Like these seats are a little bit softer. So there is a benefit to, I think this is called the Windsor leather. There is a benefit to this. And again, frankly, it kind of makes the interior feel a little bit more on the upscale side of things, which I appreciate. And, you know, having a lot of the equipment as standard is great so that you don't have to like option everything out like crazy. But I will say, you know, a fully loaded X Dynamic is still going to be less expensive than an X with similar equipment. You do pay a little bit of a price premium for the X compared to like an X Dynamic, for example. But you can't make an X Dynamic exactly like an X, if that makes sense either. There is definitely a difference. Now, other than that, just like other Defender models, super luxurious, like in terms of the ride quality, the noise insulation. Like, this feels like a full-blown luxury car, you know, unlike a Wrangler or a Bronco. Like, I feel like, again, I feel like I'm in a normal SUV. I don't feel like I'm in some like crazy, you know, off-road SUV that, you know, I have to give up a lot just to drive it around. Like, this is comfortable. It's very daily drivable. Yeah, especially going over bumps and everything. It's so comfy. One thing I will say is the brakes are definitely really aggressive on this. I think that this is just my personal opinion. I think that Land Rover kind of went overkill with the brakes on the Defender. Like, you know, 400 horsepower it's nothing to sneeze at, but like, this has brakes that are so big for an SUV that has, and it is a bigger SUV, but like, it's, you know, they could have done smaller brakes, frankly, and it would have been fine. Now let's see how this powertrain performs. I got that. I just drove the 2-liter before this, the turbocharged 2-liter, and I can tell you there is a significant difference in terms of acceleration with both of the vehicles. This definitely, you know, punches harder off the line compared to the turbocharged 4-cylinder, and it keeps going too. Like, there's, got it again. There's definitely a difference. Now, that being said, you know, which engine would I recommend? It depends. If you're just going to be off-roading with the Defender, which I think is a very small minority of people, the 4-cylinder is actually more than adequate. But if you're going to be doing on-road and off-road driving, you know, the 6-cylinder definitely has some benefits. You know, you can't put as small of a wheel on this, though, because of the brakes. There are brake caliper conversions, though, where you can fit a smaller wheel after you do the conversion. But, you know, for day-to-day use, yeah, the 6-cylinder is perfect. Now, compared to the V8, because I've driven a V8 too, I feel like the 6-cylinder is enough. The V8's fun, don't get me wrong, but this is more than enough for, like, most circumstances. Unless you're, like, merging onto the highway and you just want to be a rocket ship, that's where the V8 wins. But in every other circumstance, this feels perfect, and you get better fuel economy. So I think this is the engine sweet spot for the Defender, is the 6-cylinder. Now, as for this X package, you know, it depends. If you're gonna load up a regular Defender with the upgraded, you know, all the upgrades and the upgraded interior with the nice leather and everything, just get an X. But if you're not, I'd have to say that I'd probably go for, depending on how many interior upgrades you get, I'd probably go for one of the in-between, you know, the middle packages, basically. The only, like I said, the only reason I'd get the X is if you're gonna add all the options anyways, then yeah, just get this. If you're not gonna do that, though, probably, you know, an X Dynamic. I think that's kind of like the Defender sweet spot. X Dynamic with the 6-cylinder. But this definitely, like, this is a luxury experience. That's because something's up for a video on this Defender X. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Land Rover here in downtown Salt Lake for giving me some time with this Defender. Check out the inventory in the description down below. I'll see you guys.